What if you received a distress signal from a distant civilization on the brink of annihilation by a planet-killing force, and the only place in the galaxy that could hear it was Earth, a world long marked as dead by the stars? What would you do? This is the story of the first time humanity stepped into the galaxy, not to conquer, but to save. And when we fight, the entire universe will finally understand why Earth is called a death world. Don't blink. The next few seconds will make it impossible to look away. The planet Velrose hung like a living jewel in the cold silence of space. 3 moons quietly casting silvery light over tranquil oceans and crystalline spires that curved with the cosmic winds. For over 800 years, this world had known no blood, no guns, no trenches, no screams, only the sounds of art, of science, of peace. But tonight, peace died. Deep within the Anini defense station, Captain Nera stood frozen in the dim light of the tactical screen. Her eyes widened, her hands trembled, her throat tightened as red blips began to flood the entire space map. "How many ships?" Her voice was dry like gravel. "Confirmed, 20, and rising," Lieutenant Bren replied, his voice quivering like a taut string. "Heavy cruisers, destroyers, and—" He swallowed hard, then whispered 2 words like a blade slicing through flesh. 3 planet killers. The room fell silent. Nera closed her eyes. Planet killer steel monstrosities longer than cities, capable of melting entire worlds. She had read of them in report star systems, turned to ash, cities vanishing in white fire, human bones dissolving mid-atmosphere. And now, they were coming, straight for Velrose. "Current speed, arrival in 72 hours, Bren murmured. General Tomas stormed into the room, his cape whipping behind him like a storm. "They've already scorched Kelrose, Timani, Zirian, Balak," he said, eyes bloodshot, all gone silent. 4 worlds, Dr. Vela gasped, staggering. 4? Over 4 billion souls turned to radioactive dust, Tomas growled. "They spared no one." Nera felt her stomach clench. She thought of the children asleep in student stations, the artists painting under observatory domes, her people peaceful, fragile, unaware of where to run. "What about the Galactic Council?" Vela asked, clinging to one last desperate hope. "Useless," Tomas spat. "They took 6 days to vote on the color of a relief ship. By the time they respond, we'll be ash." A silence crushed the room like a black hole. Then from the shadows, Vela's voice cut through, soft but sharp as glass. "The emergency beacon." All eyes turned to her. In the deep archive, that old one. A long-range signal transmitter from pre-Union days. It can reach across half the galaxy. "That outdated thing?" Bren asked. "The translation protocols haven't been updated in centuries." "We don't have a choice," Vela said. "It's our only shot. Even a 1 in a million chance is better than 0. Tomas nodded. "Power it up." In a cold, dust-choked room long forgotten by time, Vela laid her hands on a console untouched for over 300 years. Ancient lights flickered to life, breathing again after centuries of silence. The system shivered awake like a relic of legend. "The question is, what do we say in the message?" Vela asked, looking to Nera. The captain was still. Then she raised her head, eyes burning as she stared at the red blips drawing ever closer on the screen. "Tell them who we are," she breathed. "Say, we are a peace-loving race. We have families. We have children. We have dreams. Tell them, monsters are coming to burn it all down, and we have no way to stop them." She stepped forward, placing a hand on Vela's shoulder. "Say, if anyone out there still has a heart, please help us." Vela nodded, her aged eyes glistening. She began to type. Lines of ancient script danced across the screen like desperate prayers. She wrote of Velrose, pure beauty, its silver moons, its crystal towers, its souls untouched by hatred. Then she spoke of the coming destroyers Krex, the warlords with fangs of technology and claws of searing fire. "The message is ready," she announced. "Where should I send it?" General Tomas pulled up the star map, thousands of systems glowing like a sea of stars, everywhere within a 50-light-year radius, including the dead zones. "Even the Deathworlds?" Vela hesitated. "Especially the Deathworlds," he said firmly. "We need every hope we can find." Vela typed the final command. Among the dozens of names, one small star blinked into view. Solit's third planet marked uninhabitable. Toxic atmosphere, extreme gravity, radiation lethal to all organic life. Nothing could survive there. But she marked it anyway, a whisper sent into the void. The machine hummed. A deep vibration filled the station, resonating through steel walls and into the cold beyond. The cry for help had been launched. Some 25 light-years from Velrose, a massive metallic disk slowly rotated against the night sky of Puerto Rico. The Arecibo Deep Space Monitoring Station roared to life like a waking dragon. Alarms blared from every console, red lights flashed, screens exploded with chaotic data. Dr. James Park, astronomer on the night shift, nearly dropped his coffee as every system screamed at once. "What the hell is going on?" he muttered, rushing to the main console. On the screen, a signal from deep space, strong and clear, encoded in primitive but mathematically perfect sequences. Signature unmistakably artificial, not natural, not interference. Someone or something was trying to talk to humanity. "Rodriguez, get over here, we've got something big," Park shouted. Maria Rodriguez slid over in her chair, eyes locked onto the data stream. "From where?" "No way," she whispered. "James, it's coming from the Vega system." "Vega?" Park's eyes widened. "That's almost 30 light-years away. And still perfectly intact," Rodriguez murmured. Within the hour, every major space observatory on Earth confirmed the signal. Chile, Australia, Russia, Japan. The transmission wrapped around the globe, a net cast from pole to pole. No one slept that night. In Geneva, Switzerland headquarters of the United Nations Space Command, a red line call yanked Admiral Sarah Kane out of cold sleep. Bare feet touched freezing stone as she bolted from her quarters, uniform hastily buttoned. Inside the comm center, tension hung thick as gunpowder. "How long until we can decode it?" she asked, voice still rough but eyes blazing. "We're running the signal through all decoders, linguistic and mathematical," said Dr. Chenlu, chief of xenolinguistics. "The physics and chemistry segments align, but..." He frowned. "The language segment. It's like using 20th century translation software. Crude. Outdated." "Outdated?" Kane frowned. "Extremely. It's as if someone is calling us from a world that never left its own star system." The signal rough, patchy, but soaked in the desperation of billions of souls, froze every mind on the planet. Every scientific, military, and academic institution was mobilized. Every ancient language, every forgotten database. The world spun but in one direction, toward a single call, a cry for help, a whisper in the dark. The breakthrough came from an unlikely source. Dr. Robert Singh, a postdoc at MIT, specializing in ancient machine translation systems. He sent an email to UN headquarters at 3:27 a.m. "I think I know what system they're using." Less than 30 minutes later, Singh was patched directly into the strategic room. "It's not mistranslation," he said, eyes never leaving the keyboard. "It's just old, really old. They're using a technical dialect from over 300 years ago." "Can you patch it?" Admiral Kane asked, not wasting a breath. "Working on it. Give me 2 hours." 2 hours that felt like 2 centuries. Meanwhile, the world stood still. The US president canceled all public appearances. The Chinese premier called an emergency meeting of the Interplanetary Coordination Committee. The European Union, NATO, Russia, Japan, India, Africa all locked in the same rhythm, waiting. Then, at exactly 5:06 UTC, Singh's voice echoed. "It's done." Opening translation. The room fell silent as a tomb. The screen lit up, and a voice began to speak, deep, artificial, trembling. To anyone receiving this message, we are the Velani from the planet Velros. We are a peaceful civilization of 3 billion souls. We have families, we have children, we have dreams. Admiral Kane shivered. We are facing total annihilation. The Krex Empire has already scorched 4 of our worlds. 4 billion lives have vanished. We have no weapons, no army, no hope. If anyone out there can hear this, please help us. We do not want to die. The screen displayed stellar coordinates, tactical data, enemy fleet analysis, Krex warship capabilities, and remaining time, 2 days, 18 hours, 12 minutes. Then silence. No one spoke. Only one thing remained, a decision. Get me the Security Council, Kane ordered. Global session, every leader, every commander. Within 4 hours, all major nations on Earth were linked through a secure military channel. The Velros signal was played in full, translated into 53 languages. Hundreds of heavy eyes followed each word. 3 billion lives, said the president of Brazil. We can't just stand by. But they're aliens, the German chancellor countered. We've never contacted them before. How do we know this isn't a trap? It's no hoax, Kane responded. All deep space sensors confirm. There's a massive military event unfolding in that region. Energy levels off the charts. Deployment capability? Asked the British Prime Minister. General Marcus Webb, Supreme Commander of the Global Defense Fleet, projected the tactical map. The full deep space fleet Type 100 ships can be combat ready in 18 hours. Silence. 800 against 200, the Japanese Prime Minister whispered. But what about their tech? We didn't spend 200 years preparing just for defense, said the Russian president. This is humanity's chance to prove it. Final vote. Unanimous. Earth, the Deathworld, answered the call. Admiral Kane clenched her fist. All fleet commanders alpha priority. Deploy all forces. We launch in 16 hours. Humanity's Fleet 800 warships line the high orbit of Earth like metallic scars etched across the starry sky. The dreadnought stretched nearly 2 kilometers long. Aircraft carriers held hundreds of fighter craft in their belly. Destroyers and cruisers blinked with the glow of nuclear reactors, growling beneath their armored skins. Aboard the flagship UEES Defiance, Admiral Sarah Kane stood tall before the massive tactical display. Her eyes scanned rapidly across each symbol, each dot, representing thousands of lives now preparing to launch into the unknown. Final report, she demanded. Navigation Chief Jackson responded immediately. Full formation in position. Time to jump point. 50. 2 minutes. Weapons. All systems primed. Reactors at 98% capacity. Energy shields ramping up. Prepare for full fleet deployment, Kane ordered coldly. Begin hyperspace sync protocol. Pulses of guiding light flickered ship to ship. Inside the command deck of the carrier Enterprise, fighter pilots powered up their systems, anti-gravity engines roaring. Deep within the destroyer Lightning, technicians checked every railgun barrel with pinpoint precision. No one joked, no one smiled, only silence before the storm. Meanwhile, on Velros, inside Anini Defense Station, alarms suddenly screamed like shrieks rising from the abyss. Unidentified contacts at the edge of the system, Lieutenant Bren nearly shouted. Count! 800. What? Captain Nera shot upright. 800 warships emerging from Hyperspation Point 2 AU from Velros's orbit. General Tomas stormed in, gripping the console's edge. We're surrounded? They've brought their full force to end us? Vela went pale. No, it can't be Krex. They only have 200 ships. Could it be reinforcements from another Krex fleet? Nera asked, eyes scanning sensor data. But then, something strange happened. The new fleet didn't merge with the Krex formation. On the contrary, they moved like a blade, drawing back and then striking clear, precise military formation. This isn't Krex, Ren whispered. They're not on shared frequencies, independent signals, unknown signatures, entirely different encryption. Aboard the Dark Conquest, the Krek's flagship. General Voss, a towering figure with gray-blue skin and vertical reptilian eyes, stood before his tactical console. "Who dares interfere?" His voice grated like rusted steel. He opened a wideband transmission, blasting across the tactical spectrum. "Unidentified vessels. This is General Voss of the Krek's Imperial Navy. You are interfering with a lawful annexation. Withdraw immediately or be annihilated." A voice replied, unshaken, without hesitation. "General Voss, this is Admiral Sarah Kane of Earth's Planetary Defense Force. We received a distress call from the Villani. You will cease this invasion and withdraw from the Velro system, or we will make you leave." Voss stiffened. "Earth? No living being survived, Sol. 3. You're looking at 800 warships proving otherwise," Kane responded. "This is your only chance." On Velros, the command center was still as a grave. Vela trembled, checking the ancient star map again. "Earth is Sol 3. "No way," Tomas murmured. "That Deathworld? A planet with extreme gravity, savage weather, radiation 5 times over safe limits. Its atmosphere was deemed uninhabitable for all organic life." Nera whispered, still staring at the new formation emerging in orbit. "And now from a world where nothing should survive, come those who not only survived, but brought destruction with them." General Voss turned coldly to his tactical officer. "Assessment. Sir, their ships are bulky, thick armor, no energy shielding, but internal power readings are massive, all powered by fission reactors. Some energy levels exceed measurable thresholds." Voss scowled. "They're madmen," the officer added. "They fight with kinetic force and raw firepower." "Fine," Voss growled. "Annihilate the intruders, then burn Velros to ash." Aboard UEES Defiance, red alert lights blazed across the command deck. "Krek's fleet advancing, distance 0.8 all." Kane clenched her fists. Time to show the galaxy what Earth did to survive. She activated fleet-wide comms. All ships battle status. Weapons online, shields at maximum. Today, we're not defending Earth. Today, we defend a dream of peace. Today, we show Kreksand every eye watching. What happens when you strike the innocent? 798 warships armed their systems. Nuclear reactors roared like beasts from deep time. Human warships screamed toward the fray. And then, the fleet jumped. Reality warped. Space tore open. The Deathworlders had arrived. The gate of hell had opened, and it would not be closed again. The first flash of light wasn't from a sunrise. It was artificial cold red, and white streaking across the stars, dragging death behind it. Earth's destroyer Lightning fired the opening salvo. Railgun's electromagnetic cannons launched, tungsten rounds 1 meter long at speeds 20 times the speed of sound. Each projectile was a man-made meteorite, capable of piercing any armor in the galaxy. The first shot tore through the Krek's vanguard ship, and that ship vanished. No explosion, no flames, just disintegration. One moment it existed, the next only a cloud of superheated gas, shards, and ash. Aboard the Dark Conquest, General Voss roared. "What the hell was that?" The tactical officer stood frozen. "That's not plasma, not energy-based. It's pure physics-kinetic impact, but at velocities beyond galactic standards." "Return fire," Voss bellowed. At the same moment, Earth's cruiser Thunderbolt launched a salvo of tactical nuclear missiles, dual warheads, uranium cores, the explosive yield of a collapsing mountain. One missile found its target. The second Krek's warship was blasted from space. White fire, plasma dust, and hundreds of alien lives reduced to ash. The void lit up in waves of annihilation. "Impossible!" a Krek's officer screamed. "They're insane!" On the carrier Enterprise, anti-gravity engines shrieked like a banshee's laugh. Over 120 Hawk-class fighters, just 15 meters long, capable of speeds 6 times the speed of sound swarmed from the launch bays like a hive of angry wasps. They weren't elegant. They weren't beautiful. They were killing tool sand. Humans were masters of killing tools. Lieutenant Sarah William Callsign Hawk leadered the formation. Hawk team, on me. Target, Krex cruiser on the left flank. Strategy, strike, fast, pull out. Human fighters circled the target like wolves surrounding a wounded beast. No warning, no negotiation. Only blood and ash. The Krex cruiser took fire from 12 directions. Every angle, every chink in the armor exploited. In just 2 minutes, the massive ship was reduced to a glowing heap of burning steel. No life forms survived. Inside Velrose's defense center, Dr. Vela collapsed to the floor, face pale as bone. They're using nuclear weapons in space combat, she whispered. No one does that. No one's that mad. And the kinetic projectiles, Lieutenant Bren added. The velocity, near relativistic speeds. The sheer energy alone, General Tomas stood paralyzed. No one's ever done this because everyone knows the cost. Nera stared at the screen, eyes fixed on the human fleet formation. They don't fight like a civilization, she said coldly. They hunt. On the battlefield, Earth ships moved like a pack of massive predators. Some baited, others pressured, and a few killed. Destroyers flanked. Cruisers struck the heart. And the Dreadnought's apex predator smashed through defensive lines. The Dreadnought Titan, weighing nearly 10 million tons, opened its main battery. 4-barreled nuclear cannon, rate of fire, 1 shot every 3 seconds. Armor-piercing uranium rounds on impact. Temperatures surged past 10 million degrees. One Krex ship exploded. Half a second later, another chain reacted beside it. 2 fireballs bloomed like twin suns, rising in the stars. General Voss nearly lost his mind. They don't follow formation, no coordination, no tactical standard. Because they don't need to, the tactical officer replied. They're not fighting, like us. What about our weapons, our shields, our orbital defenses? Not enough, the officer whispered. We were built to win battles. They were built to survive. Grim statistics filled the screen after just 19 minutes of battle. Krex losses, 47 ships destroyed. Human losses, 4 ships missing in action. Casualty ratio, nearly 12-1. On the tactical map, blood and steel painted a symphony of death. Hawk fighters weaved through shipwrecks. Missiles with neutron warheads locked on from over 1 AU away. Cluster bombs from the Vengeance rained lethal fragments into the heart of the Krex formation. Velrose remained under threat. But now, their skies blazed not with Krex fire but with Earth's wrath. The Deathworlder survivors from a planet of merciless extremes had arrived, and nothing could stop them. General Voss had never lost a battle. Across 47 conquered star systems, not a single species had dared resist the Krex Empire for more than 30 minutes. No one had ever fought back. No one had ever made the Krex retreat. Until today. A quarter of his fleet had already been turned to radioactive dust, and worse than the numbers was the feeling. The feeling of being hunted. "Sir!" the communications officer shouted. "Eastern Quadrant 3 destroyers eliminated in 40 seconds. Western flank cut in half by low-flying attack units. Central battery no contact with the heavy artillery squadron. They're dividing us," Voss muttered. "Not attacking head-on. They're carving the meat." They weren't fighting like soldiers. They were fighting like wolves. Aboard the Fury, Lieutenant Tom Harris swiped across the weapons console, eyes locked on the tactical map. Target the northern Krex cruiser. Deploy neutron mines. Create a dead zone. A series of mines detonated. No light, no flames, just the absence of everything. No explosion, no debris. The Krex cruiser ceased to exist as if it had never been there. The Vengeance swept cluster bombs into the densest pocket of Krex ships. each bomb no larger than a fist multiplied upon release, fracturing into thousands of razor fragments that shredded armor and organic tissue alike. One Krek ship activated its shields. It didn't matter. Every gap, every joint, every microfracture became a doorway for nightmare to enter. Sensors picked up the screams in space, but no one heard them. Only death. Aboard the Defiance, Admiral Kane studied the data. "We're funneling them into kill pockets," Commander Jackson said. "They're collapsing toward the center. No way out. Keep the pressure. Maintain the ring. Don't let any escape." "Yes, Admiral. By the way, we've only lost 30 ships." Kane nodded, her voice as solid as stone, more than enough to teach them a lesson. On Velrose, Captain Nera whispered, "They're strangling them." "But how?" Dr. Vela still couldn't comprehend. "Earth's technology. No energy shields, no strategic drones, no advanced tactical AIs." General Tomas looked at the screen where wave after wave of Earth ships moved like beasts, surrounding, tearing, then moving on to the next prey. "Because they're not fighting to dominate," he said slowly. "They're fighting to survive." General Voss felt like he was standing on a ledge. His formation was shattered. Command protocols no longer responded. Every ship he sent forward was devoured. "Sir!" the comms officer yelled. "Rear defense fleet requesting permission to retreat. They're being flanked." Voss stared at the screen. Only 60 combat-capable ships remained. From 200 down to 60 in under an hour. Earth had taught him humiliation. "Order the retreat!" he roared, his voice bitter and cracked. "All remaining vessels fall back to the jump point." On Velrose, when the sensors confirmed the Krek's fleet was withdrawing, the command room erupted. Lieutenant Bren shouted, "They're running! They're running!" Tomas grabbed Vela's hand. "We survived." Nera stood motionless, but tears streaked silently down her cheeks. Aboard the human warships, the final order rang out: "Cease pursuit. Hold position." The human fleet coated in ash, blood, and debris floated like furious iron towers, but not a single shot was fired. There was no need. The message was clear. The hunter had become the hunted. 3 days later, on Velrose, Admiral Kane walked through the Crystal Garden. 2 of the 3 moons hovered above, casting silver reflections over the glass towers. "Beautiful," she murmured. Beside her, Captain Nera nodded. "At one point, we thought it'd be the last time we'd see moonlight." "Not while Earth still stands," Kane replied. Elsewhere in the defense station, Lieutenant Bren called out, "General Tomas, you need to see this." Galactic broadcasts were lighting Upevery Channel reporting on Velrose. The day the ones from Hell the Deathworlders came to save a peaceful race. Reporters from dozens of star systems beings with translucent skin, floating eyes, and tentacles praised the event with awe. Krex called it an unlawful intervention, but the rest of the galaxy called it a miracle. 3 days after the victory, distress signals poured in from all directions of the galaxy. From the Andros Belt, where children were being enslaved. From the Helix Federation, under invasion by the Score Collective. From Tati, where the Crystal Singers were slowly dying from an incurable plague. They weren't asking for weapons. They weren't begging for technology. They simply asked, "Can the humans protect us like they did Velrose?" In Velrose's Crystal Garden, Admiral Kane received an urgent transmission from the Secretary General of the United Galactic Nations. "Admiral," he said solemnly, "the entire Security Council is in unanimous agreement. We are forming an interstellar peacekeeping force under your command." "Our current fleet won't be enough," she replied. "We know. Earth's entire industrial complex is being redirected for interstellar production. Within 2 years, you will command 5 Zero warships." Captain Nera stood quietly beside Kane, listening without a word. Finally, she whispered, "The galaxy is changing, isn't it?" Kane nodded. "Now, every oppressor knows their victims are no longer alone." Broadcasts from over 100 star systems carried the same message. The age of silence is over. The survivors of the Deathworld have spoken. And the galaxy has a gatekeeper now. If you've stayed with this story until now, thank you, from the bottom of my heart. This story has been a journey not only for Velrose, but for all of us. A journey of those who seemed weak, but dared to rise, to protect, to stand for what is right. If you enjoy stories like this, subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any upcoming emotional and action-packed sci-fi stories. Hit like to let the algorithm know you want more. And leave a comment below. Your feedback helps improve future videos in depth, narration, and emotional resonance. Once again, thank you so much for sharing your time and imagination with me.